name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek. I'm sitting down with Krzysztof Szafrański, and you work for Rebel.
Yeah.
And so we just grabbed you to come chit chat with us for a little bit to talk about.
I'm pleased.
Right?
Yeah.
To talk about what kind of purchasing you're doing for Rebel, what's coming up that you are able to share with us, and I was promised some good life stories.
I'm currently, that's a very intense moment that we just returned from Nuremberg, as you are here.
Yes.
Then we had a kind of special event that we run in Poland, 6th edition of what we call Games Laboratory. It's a kind of the game jam, but also mentors from Polish community from many different companies came to run the event. There were about 32 young or aspiring game developers that every group of 4 had a mentor from the industry, either already published author or a developer, producer, buyer, some kind of industry veteran.
That's an interesting model. I haven't really heard of that before, having a mentor.
Have you, Eric had the Blossoms shown some time ago. It was the game that won the first edition of Games Lab.
Yeah.
The other game, it was released by Rebel, but the game from one of the, I think from the 3rd or 5th edition, Paranormal Detectives, will be released by Lucky Duck. So it's like some other games are still in production, so maybe you will see more games with this Games Lab mentioning. But the event is becoming more and more international as well.
Yeah.
Because this year we had Bruno Faiduti with his lecture, and also there were some friends from Germany, from Netherlands, friends from Czech Republic came. So I'm trying to build also international community for Polish gamers, but we also made a kind of expert lecture and a meeting with a lawyer. He's also a game designer and a friend of mine. But yeah, it was very deep, intense lecture, almost 3 hours, of how to protect your IP as what could be protected by contracts. How to make a good contract, what could be protected by the author's law, what is actually protected automatically, or what you can take care of, how you can patent a game or game mechanism. It's very different in US than in Europe.
I was just going to say it was more specific to the EU, I'm imagining.
EU, but also it was mentioning some aspects of American law. Yeah. So yeah, it was this. So I was overwhelmed with that. Then I came here. Here I'm a buyer, so I'm meeting with independent studios, because people are started calling me names
good names, I hope.
No, good names. No, I'm working both as Asmodee Poland, which is a distribution localization company mainly focused on that, but as the Rebel Studios, which as we kept our brand for international operations and sales of our own products like K2, Dream Home, these lines.
Yeah.
But also we keep this name for our B2C operations in Poland, as our online store, events, and all organized play, for example, that we make now for FFG products. So this is kind of mixed up. So here I'm mostly a buyer, because all our contacts are settled here.
Yep.
But for example, Nemesis, it's FunForge, not Asmodee France. So this is still very creative job to manage all these ongoing operations. Then we will meet at Gamma, probably.
Yeah. Well, I won't be there, but you'll be there.
Then it's GDC in San Francisco. I really love this conference, especially there are two summits that I attend. First, the Educators Summit, where I exchange my experience with this, for example, running this game jam and other student projects, or projects with students, with really experienced educators in US. Then there is this board game design day, where there are top-notch guests like best speakers, like one of the one of the best lectures that you can have about game design. It's, I think, 3 years old lecture of Mike Rosewater about 20 years of Magic the Gathering game design.
Wow, that's neat.
It was mind blowing. Yeah. Then I go to Japan, to Tokyo, just directly. Yeah, that's 1 month.
You're halfway there already.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
From San Francisco, at least.
Yes, I will be meeting Japanese publishers there. And then I'm going to Athens to meet for a Blue-Orange Export Days.
You're just looping at that point?
First time. And then I'm going back home. And there will be beginning of April, and anyone from Europe, I think that you can see our biggest Gen Con, which is PyrCon in Poznań. Last year it was about 45,000 people there. It started as RPG convention, but then it grew into as the board games were getting stronger, it also the board game part.
Now talk a little bit as a, I know, right?
Yeah.
Whew, you just get all that?
That was this life part.
Right, there you go. Now as a buyer, if you were going to give top 2 ideas, 3 ideas to someone pitching their game.
Okay, yeah.
Let's, for those who are aspiring designers, I had a great talk yesterday with Tom Lehman about prototyping and failing faster and seeking outside opinions, but also having assigned roles within your play group. Let's take that a few steps down the line. You have a game, you're ready to pitch it.
How to do this.
How to do this? Yeah, if you were going to give 2 or 3 pieces of advice to someone on how to pitch to a person in your job.
For example, it's a part of a game lab. It's also this pitching training because there is a jury round at the end. Yeah, you have 8 minutes to present not the game as a whole, but because like some people tend to explain in 8 minutes they can give the background story. No,
teach a single rule.
You have 1 minute for that. Yeah, you have about 3 minutes to tell about the core mechanic.
Yep.
Like just explain the most interesting part of your game. Don't try to tell everything. Yeah, and then make a very brief presentation of this decision-making process inside the game. In video games, it's called the vertical slice. Yeah, that you just that you find the most interesting part of your game.
Yeah.
Make an already prepared scenario. Yeah, buyer, all business people. Yeah. Are very busy and they have very short attention span. Yeah? So like you have to impress them. Yeah? So as for the director or in a skyscraper, you have this elevator pitch, which can take up to 1 minute because that's how long it takes. Yeah. So you have 8 minutes in this industry when you can tell about your game. Prepare like already prepared scenario that you will show what's the most important part of your game, why it stands out. Yeah, don't make me bored. Yeah?
I'm so glad I asked you that question because I think it's pretty much exactly what you said is what our interviews also should be.
Yeah.
Because 5 to 8 minutes is kind of our sweet spot.
Yeah.
And I think when we want to give people a sampling, that breadth of information, the vertical slice, I think is exactly what shows well in an interview like this as well. Because
I think so. This is part of selling process for us as publishers.
Yeah.
We are using your platform.
Yes.
to also show our games as a commercial. Yeah. But it's very hard. Yeah. To make it well. There's also one other thing about explaining rules in general. Yeah, like first you have to train it. Yeah, you have to do this many times and be really focused. If people, what are people reacting to? Right? Because actually the game as the concept as the whole like the medium, you can divide into 3 areas. Winning conditions and the end state of the game. Yeah, that's something what you have to take care of while explaining the game as a whole. The turn or timing structure, and the components, the layout, or just like. And there are many games, but mainly you can also divide them. Which is most important part for understanding the rest of the game. So first you make the scaffolding of the basic rule. For example, when I'm explaining Agricola, I start with scoring because this helps me to explain the rest.
Yes, yes, it kind of gives you a framework, an anchor.
Yeah. For Seven Wonders, I explain the turn structure.
Yes, yeah.
Because once you get it, then you know like what would be next. And for example, when I'm teaching Magic the Gathering, I'm explaining the component by component and how they interconnect. Yeah, like this is my approach. Yeah, but also you can think about the game that you explained most times and what you tend to like. What is with your experience? What had the best result? Yeah. What allowed people to understand the game the best? Yeah?
And I've changed the way I've taught games over time. I think probably the game. I run a public group in Chicago, and so we end up teaching a lot of gateway games. So those are the ones I definitely end up teaching the most. And Seven Wonders has shifted quite a bit, and that's a full teaching too. But even then, I mean, there is a large element of practice there, and like, that applies to having the 30-second pitch and the 2-minute pitch and the 8-minute pitch. And those all take practice too.
I started working in the industry first running events of Warhammer and Magic tournaments. But then I was working in a local hobby store, So like, then you really like you're explaining multiple games to people. They don't even care sometimes,
Right.
So that's the. But then also teaching games on convention, and then I'm showing games on sales meetings, So it's all the time you're teaching how like what could be the best like the hook that you can like. Grab someone's attention, and
sometimes you only have one sentence.
And but then, like if you have this attention, you can continue with the next aspect of the game. So.
Well, Krzysztof, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes and just letting us talk out and hear about some of the aspects of your job and how many different layers there are. So, and I hope you have a good rest of the show.
Thank you very much. I just arrived, actually. So
okay, all right. Well,
nice.
That's fine. I'm glad you can sit for a little while then.
Thank you.
Thank you.